Hello, everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel that Will and I have started to talk about Star Wars The Living Set. Pretty excited about this one.
Yeah.
Will, so can I introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you to start off with?
My name's Will. I'm 13 years old. I am a boy dancer, and I have had a lot of fun going through Star Wars stuff with my dad, and lately mostly about cards, specifically, like he said, the Star Wars Living Set, which I'm really excited about, and just anything Star Wars in general.
Awesome. So, Will, I'm obviously your dad, in case we haven't met before, but my name is James, and I've always been a card collector as a kid. When I was your age, I collected a ton of cards. Baseball cards, hockey cards, football cards. That was my life. Got away from it for a while and then got back into it when I found this amazing, cool set called the Star Wars Living Set. So our channel is really going to be based around the Star Wars Living Set. We'll talk more about that tonight for our first YouTube video, and then moving forward, we'll kind of put up some videos talking about each of the cards. So, Will, what was your first Star Wars memory that you can remember?
It's kind of hard to, but I think my first one was actually probably when you first shared Star Wars number 4, A New Hope with me.
Yep.
When I think it was probably about when we first moved here, so about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I just thought it was a really amazing movie. I thought all the characters were amazing. Chewbacca was my favorite and still is one of. And I just thought it was a great thing, and I've just kept getting more into it and more into it.
Awesome. My first memory was also Star Wars A New Hope Episode 4. However, I was younger than you are now.
Yep.
I went to see it at a drive-in in the back of an AMC Pacer. You have no idea what that is, but for folks my age, you'll know exactly what that is, and for folks maybe a little bit younger than me, it's the car from Wayne's World. So there's that reference as well if you want to go check that out. But that's where I first got into Star Wars. Of course, loved it all my life. Really excited about it. And then when this set came out, when I didn't even hear about it until probably a couple months ago, but we've really gotten into it. So what is it that got you excited about the Star Wars Living Set?
I personally like how they've just been working on it since about 2019.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I also like how it's actually not photos. It's actually done by it was at first it was only one artist, and his name was Chris Penix.
It still is his name, yes.
Still is his name.
Yes.
And he actually did all of the cards, painted them by hand all the way up to card 223. Then after that, Chris continued, and this other guy joined, Carlos
Caballero. Yeah.
Carlos Caballero joined in at card number 224. And ever since, Chris does one, Carlos does one for each week.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the Star Wars Living Set. So I didn't hear about it until maybe 6 or 7 months ago. Really got into it. But so the Star Wars Living Set is something, it's made by the Topps Company, which is really different than any other sports card sets really prior to the Living Set. When you normally have a card set, there's a defined number of cards, 400, 500, 800, whatever that is.
Yep.
With the Living Sets, it's actually something that's ongoing. So it first started with baseball. They actually did the first baseball set back in 2018, and it's still going today. They also did a UEFA, I probably said that wrong, but soccer league, where they actually started that one about 2019. Took a little bit of a pause for a while between 2022 and 2023, but that is still going. And then the Star Wars Living Set started in about 2019, and they've been doing 2 cards every single week that you can order from the Topps website, which is pretty darn cool. So, Will, tell me about how do they pick the characters and what's the rules around that?
So, I'm pretty sure the character picking is completely random, but the thing is that, so there are several different movies, shows, games, there's so much Star Wars stuff. And one of their main rules is that they're only going to have one character, so in each movie, they're only going to choose one character from that, and that will be that one card from that one movie, and that will be that one card character. So, for example, let's take Chewbacca from A New Hope. I'm not sure if they've made that card yet. I think they probably have. But there's only going to be one Chewbacca A New Hope, and that is going to be that card. They're not making 2 of the same cards of the same character from the same show.
But could they make another Chewbacca, let's say, from a different show, that like a different movie or a cartoon or something else?
Absolutely.
Wow, so you could have really like a bunch of different Chewbaccas from
Yep.
different movies or shows. Well, that's pretty cool. So how many, like, how does it work? Do you know how many cards they make of each card?
So they roughly make about 1,200
Okay.
each week, roughly. It varies on how many people want and how many people buy. So the actual cool thing, continuing on that, is depending on how many people order, that's how many they print. So, for example, the highest one was The Child, and that one they made 9,663 of them.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yep. And then that is still the most ordered and most bought card.
So can I go back and buy The Child now from Topps?
You cannot.
Got it. So I think what it is it's open for 1 week, and then how many of those cards people order, then that's how many they print, and then that's how many they send out. So like Will said, that The Child was the most popular one that's been printed so far. Interestingly, the lowest printed one is about 800, and that's actually printed not that long ago. And I'm looking at my notes. It's Oni Isaiah from The Last Jedi. Only 805 of that one. But again, it's about 1,200 each week, which is pretty cool. And then that way, once they print them, then you can't get them anymore. Yeah. The other cool part, and I know you're a big fan of this, so the cards are actually modeled, and we've got some of the prints behind us that you can also get. What are they modeled after? Like, what was the set that these are kind of fashioned after?
So the original idea came from the 1977 Star Wars set. And I'm guessing for some of our older souls, a lot of you probably know of this, maybe even have some of the cards, and we actually do as well. So the really cool part is that if you see, there's the recognizable blue dots, so blue background, blue dots, and then of course the Star Wars symbol, just like the 1977 set.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was always a big fan of that set. I wish I had kept more of them because some of those are really, really valuable now, but I love that they stuck with that design for it. So what we're going to do on our channel here is that Will and I are going to break down kind of each of the different cards moving forward. So we're going to spend some time talking about each of the different cards, maybe some interesting facts about them, and hopefully you'll kind of join us in learning about the different cards as well. So Will, why don't we turn into the first two cards of the set, and let's talk about those two for this week. So Will, why don't you tell us about the first card that came out?
So the first card was Darth Vader from which one was he from? From A New Hope specifically, and they made about 3,909 of that card, and we have 382 graded, 129 graded a PSA 9, and 238 graded a PSA 10.
That's pretty awesome. You know, the interesting thing about Darth Vader and his character was obviously that he was originally played by a guy named David Prose. It's who the original actor. He was actually a bodybuilder. Mm-hmm. But of course, he didn't do the voice. It was James Earl Jones that did the voice, which is pretty cool. And Darth Vader is obviously a character that's been around for a long, long, long time. So definitely an iconic card from this set. Pretty cool on that one. So card number 2. Why don't you tell us about card number 2, Will?
Card number 2 was Senior Nien from Return of the Jedi specifically. He was the co-pilot of the Millennium Falcon with Lando. Then he is a Celestin, which is species. They made 2,888 of that one. And we have graded 156. There have been 64 PSA 9s and 75 PSA 10s.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously a lot less of that card, right, than the Darth Vader. But those, again, sold. You could get them as a package of 2 or 1 individually. So some interesting things I learned about Nunb when I was looking up his character today. He actually was played by 3 different people. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, there was actually an actor, there was a puppeteer, and there was a person that did his voice.
Oh.
The interesting thing that I found out is the person that did his voice was actually a gentleman that was from Kenya, and he was actually speaking his native tongue of Kalenjin, which is actually a Kenyan native language. So pretty cool that I didn't know about that one. So definitely exciting to kick off this YouTube channel. Really excited to share the different cards from the Star Wars Living set with you guys. Hopefully you'll join us each week or however often we put that out. And if you're interested in checking out the cards, they're available on Topps.com under the Living set. Otherwise, Will, thanks so much for the first week, and I look forward to getting back with you again.
Yeah.